the admixture of people who are highly capable and people who get some of the thrill of the highly capable person just by viewing it is not as good as it might be. Right? In other words, I think we've taken all sorts of activities that people used to engage in, and we've found a consumable equivalent, right? Like sport. People used to play sports. Now, most people who are into sports watch sports. They're consuming the sport rather than participating in it.
Right. Especially adults.
Especially adults.
Yeah.
Likewise, sex, frankly.
Right.
Sex is a very important realm, and it's a skill. The skill involves insight into your partner, and we've turned it into a consumable where you can chase your fetish or whatever and just watch it on a screen.
Right.
And the point is, that's actually not the same activity.
Right. And that's also leading to this weird world we're living now where a giant percentage of, especially young men, aren't having any sex.
Right.
More than ever before.
That's where it goes. And,
right.
If we take ourselves back, a couple hundred years, music used to be something that people did. Everybody sung and they whistled, and many people played musical instruments. Now, music is a consumable. And the point is, the reward may be somewhat similar to listening to a really good song as it is to play a really good song on an instrument, but the degree to which you've been robbed as a human being who is capable of producing music and you don't have a thought of doing it because there's so much to listen to, that's not positive for humans.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. But isn't that like, at least people are being exposed to a bunch of different ideas, so it has the potential to lead them to try and do different things.
Well, when I was a professor, my thought was almost the entire job of education is about incentives. It's about incentives and motivation. It's not about delivering content. If you can get a student to want to understand something, most of the work is done, right? So when I look at school, I can't believe how badly structured it is, because the idea is effectively it's going to threaten you into learning something. That's not going to make it stick. It's not going to make you want to learn more.
Right.
So my feeling is what you want is you want to create a desire in the student to understand the thing. Then your work is pretty well done, and then it's like play. And if we took that approach to all of these things so that you felt rewarded by producing music, even if it's very simple, right? Well, then you might pick up music for a lifetime and be generating it decades later, right?
Right.
You should not be delivered a message about sex where sex is something that is supposed to be perfected, and therefore a person who's new to that realm feels inadequate and therefore is incentivized to abandon it and go watch it. There should be a recognition that actually this is something that you will develop over a lifetime, and it's important that you do, and you should want it because it's access to some of the most rewarding stuff there is, right? So just getting the motivation built in the person so that they want to pursue it is all you really need.
I'm really worried about robot sex dolls.
Yep.
I didn't used to be worried about them. I joke around about it on stage, but I'm actually worried about it now because I've seen some of the new ones that they've developed, the new very lifelike human robots, which is, by the way, they seem to be, a lot of them are hot women for some reason. Even though they're not sex robots, a lot of the robots are hot women. Like, what? Okay, I see what you're doing. Like, you could do both things at the same time. Obviously, the market is sex robots. So what you're doing is you're having, like, robot assistants that happen to be really hot, beautiful women.
Well,
that are, like, pretty realistic right now. Not realistic, like, I couldn't tell, like, if one was sitting there, that's a robot, you're a real person. But go to Pong and then go to Diablo 4. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I do.
You know where it's coming.
Yeah,
It's only going to get better than it is now, and now it's pretty goddamn close. You're in the uncanny valley.
Yeah, you're in the uncanny valley, and really what needs to happen in order that we don't reproduce the disaster of porn with, in 3D
Right.
or 4D, it needs to become sophisticated to understand that you really don't want any part of that, even if it's very good, especially if it's very good.
But isn't that hard to do? But you can't even convince people that they don't want social media.
Well, I used to take a lot of flack as a prude. Because, yeah,
Come on.
because,
Come on.
well, I'm not a prude. I'm really not. But I do take a very dim view of porn. It's like you're messing with something sacred, and just don't, right? And, porn isn't what you and I remember porn was when we were young, right? It's not pictures of naked girls,
Right.
right? It's way more pernicious and invasive and coercive.
And instantaneously available.
Instantaneously available, and it reaches almost everybody. Now, so anyway, I used to say very negative things about porn, and I took a lot of flack over it. That is less and less true. I think people are beginning to realize how much damage it's doing to them, and there are a lot more people ready to acknowledge that whether or not they're in control of it in their own lives, they wish they were, right? They don't want it. I will say